All right. I sent out everything as far as I know. Looks like we're live. Looks like things are going. And tonight, welcome to another Friday. Welcome to another hangout. Welcome to another stream. Welcome to another window shopping. Yes. Tonight, I'm going to start a little bit different because I just want to get this done. I thought about doing this as like a full video, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think that I want to open this because I want to make Space Vicron. That's what I think. So tonight, we're actually starting the stream with a live build of Space Vicron. I just feel like I want to do this. I want to get him done. This is my opportunity to do so rather than getting him done later. I just want him on the shelf. I want him on the shelf next to the other Vicron. And I had a couple thoughts about this in terms of what I'm about to do. For one, I just bought a Revelation book. I figured like this made a lot of sense for what I want to do. A Revelation buck will do exactly what I need him to do. We will have to figure some things out. We're going to have to take him apart a little bit because his head and his hands are not going to stay. Oh no. And then of course, I'll worry about the weapons and whatnot later. But for right now, I bought this. I bought just like a $10 quick, who cares, like clearance Revelation He-Man. I just figured it made sense. It was literally on sale, and I didn't feel like there was any reason not to go with it, in all honesty. Did I fix this yet today? I don't know if I fixed this. I think I did. Yep, I did. Good. So that's set. This needs to change, however. We need to change that to live chat. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is I need to take some stuff off of him. I'm going to pull his hand here, take this off. I'm going to pull his other hand here. Ooh, tell me that comes off of him, right? If it doesn't, then I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble because that would really ruin my idea here. I thought for sure that came off. I thought I took it off of one of the other ones. Pull the head off. Let's get the armor off. There's that part. And this part. There. Let's take the hat off, shall we? There. There's our buck for what it's worth. This, I thought for sure that I'd taken this off before. There. I'm getting it. There's a little bit of glue. There. Okay. So this on the Revelation He-Man is glued, but that's fine. We'll shave that down. There. Shouldn't be an issue. That's shaved down. It shouldn't cause us a problem. And we'll never, ever be able to really even realize that that was just done because these are going to go on him anyway. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we want these on like this. I think we want the orange pointing out. So this is what we're going for. Let me just get this on there. It's a little tight if you want the truth of it. There we go. Think I got it. I'm thinking, because we know we got to worry about this. Do we want it in this hand or this hand? I want it in this hand. That's the one I want. There'll be that. There'll be this. There. That way we can have the expressive hand, the open hand, so he can kind of be able to shoot and give like the expressive move. That's what I'm wanting out of this. So that's what we're going to do here. I think it makes the most sense for what we're going for. That we're not going to worry about. Let me move this. Let me move this. Move that. Get this out of the way. His armor really shouldn't be a big deal. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been a decent day today. I can't necessarily complain. Yeah, this is going to work. I don't see any reason this isn't going to work. We'll put the expressive hand here. There. There. So now we've got that. We've got that. We've got this. The buck looks like it's going to work for this pretty well, actually. We want to get... This is a little tricky. We want to get this here, take it up over, put it here, move the head around, connect it. There, I think I got it on there. Flip that, bring it around like this. We want to connect that here. And we want to connect this one here. This is a little tough, if you want the truth of it. I didn't expect that part to be any kind of difficult, but it is giving me some trouble. There we go. There's that clipped, that clipped. That's perfect. And for what it's worth, one last part, and we will have everything in place. Perfect. I can also move these out of the way. Revelation Space Vicron. There he is. Does that work? I think that works. That gives me all three Vicrons on display. And I've been thinking about this a little bit. Like putting actual thought. Of course, that would just fall right off of his back like that. Of course, that would do that. I've been giving this some actual thought about adding this to the shelf and how I was going to justify it or talk about it in general. And it gave me an idea, headcanon-wise, that I hadn't really considered yet. See, one thing that I like about Motu is that it's not 100% cut and dry. And that's when it hit me. I put a faker Vicron, the War Machine, the Marine, on the shelf. And then I started thinking about the Space Vicron. How was I going to get him onto the shelf? And I decided to go with the Revelation body. And then I kept saying to myself, there's a little bit of inconsistency in terms of the look, because this is not the right body buck. But the storyline for Vicron says that as he defeated enemies, he took their armor and pieces and weapons and things of that nature and added them to his own. So what's to say that there aren't two characters that I need for the shelf that are not Vicron, but this is the guy that he actually beat all that time ago? And that's where he got the armor from. So it actually works that the Revelation body is not 100% the Vicron body, because this wouldn't be Vicron. It would be the person that Vicron defeats and earns the armors and pieces from. And that's the reason I decided to go with the Revelation body. And of course, because it made financial sense to buy an $8 Revelation body instead of an extra Vicron, which I would have just ended up with a bunch of extra armor pieces. Now, I got one of my store trays back to be able to store armors and things of that nature. This actually worked out very well. That's a Revelation body. That's Space Vicron added to the shelf. That's fantastic. Absolutely love it. Perfect. So, that's where I'm starting today. Just wanted to get Space Vicron on the shelf, and we will worry about the other things too. So if you choose to do this, the only thing that you really need to worry about is this. This is glued on Revelation He-Man. It doesn't just come off this little thing like it does on the other figures. The other figures that I have, He-Man wise, we just took them off. We just took the hands off, and then we took that thing off. So I just had to shave it down the littlest bit. It really was not difficult at all. And now he's on the shelf, and that's fantastic. So that's the start. Let's go to the chat. See what people are up to tonight, huh? Okay, first off, hello. What's going on, man? Welcome. It has been a pretty good day today, I will say. Pretty good. Yeah, I can't complain. Let's see. You got to... Yes, it did work. It did work, man. Let's see. What is this right here? A friend asked me who would win in the scenario. Interested in hearing your thoughts. Who would win, Shredder or Spider-Man? As not in a cartoon. It's the same argument I have against the whole Batman thing. It's Spider-Man. It's you can't hit him. It doesn't matter how much of a ninja you are, you can't hit him. And all he needs is one lucky shot or some webs on the ground. He's been defeated by ninjas that are way under his caliber as long as there are 4 of them, and Spider-Man is literally superhuman. It always kind of gets me. It's not that I don't, you know me. I love human characters that pull off amazing feats, but Spider-Man has the spider sense. He moves with ridiculous agility, and he can lift 50 times his body weight. Spider-Man pulls his punches. Spider-Man has acted as the landing gear for a plane. For a jumbo jet. All he has to do is accidentally love tap Shredder one time, and Shredder's going to wonder where he's going to wonder what happened. He's just going to wake up in another place and wonder what happened. It's not even close to being a fight. The only reason Spider-Man loses fights is because he messes up. He's a kid and he makes stupid kid mistakes. That's it. He defeats himself. Half the people he's ever lost to is because he loses because he just really doesn't know the extent of what he's capable of. Hey, what's going on, Copter? What are you doing, man? I put all the Vicron bits on Origins books. Yeah, exactly. There was no reason I wasn't going to buy 3 Vicrons. I did exactly like you said. And the more I headcanoned it, the more it made sense to me that Vicron earns his armor by defeating other warriors and then taking trinkets and whatnot from the warriors that he defeats in the arenas and things like that. So he once fought a spaceman-esque rocketeer dude and beat that guy and then took the stuff for himself. What's to say that Revelation Body He-Man is not the guy that he literally beat? That's perfect. It just made perfect sense to put all 3 looks on the shelf and use different body bucks that weren't Vicron and then add to the storyline in my own headcanon and whatnot. It's my shelf. I can do whatever I want. Let's see. Acolyte trailer breaks records, and I still don't even know what that is. I was at work. I don't know what that is. I'll watch it at some point and see why people are whatever. But I don't have enough. I don't have time in my life for negativity right now. So if it turns out to be something like that, then who cares? And yeah, he has the spider sense. Shredder can't hit him. It doesn't matter how ninja he is. He can't hit him. Spider-Man could probably run, literally run. In fact, I would guarantee this. If Captain America can run full force, if he can run as fast as a car, Spider-Man can run faster. Spider-Man, in physical strength alone, should be more powerful than Captain America. In just 100% physical ability, he should be stronger than Captain America, faster than Captain America, more agile than Captain America. And I believe Captain America could beat up the Shredder. I love the Shredder. But in all honesty, he's just Ninja Samurai dude that happens to fight mutant reptiles. I mean, I'm just saying. Now, Shredder has gone through a lot of changes over the years, so maybe the characterization that I know from the original Mirage comics is not quite the same idea. Maybe he's gotten really crazy over the years, but even in some of the IDW things, he was just a dude. He was just a dude. An awesome dude, a badass dude, but just a dude. Let's see here. Talking about Persona here. I did play Persona 1, and I did play Persona 2, and I actually didn't like either one of them. But that's because of my timing. I started on Persona 3, and only spent about a month on Persona 3 because I got into it late, and then Persona 4 came out literally a month after I started Persona 3. So I did Persona 3, went straight to 4, went back to FES, then on the PSP got part 1 and 2, and did not like them at all. Like, I was not a fan of the way those games played, so I don't really have much to do with them. Would you guys do a rating video of The Crow? Oh, you mean to look at that new Crow? Look, I have to see the movie before I can make an honest judgment. But by pictures alone, and I did not watch the trailer, by pictures alone, standalone pictures of what they're making the Crow look like, he looks like the Devil May Cry remake. Like, I did not like it literally at all. Let's see. Guys talking about... What's up, man? Hey. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started. I think we're set here. I think we're ready. Let me check this. Yeah. Okay. That's up. We're up to 10. Everything's going. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and get started because there are some things that I want to see today. Let me fix that real quick. Photos of the movie I saw. I ain't touching it with it. I mean, I've seen things that then when I see the story or see them in motion, I'm fine with it. But on visual alone, I am not interested in this Crow movie, which is going to be an issue in general because in order for me to see it, like, I have to be interested enough to go see it. And right now I have zero desire to watch it. I'm just kind of watching the Crow that I care for, and like, you get the idea. There's a million things I could do with my life. And let's say that Crow movie is amazing. I may never know that because it may take another 5 or 6 years after it releases for me to know or care. That Fantastic Four Wolverine, I already put it on pre-order. Because that is freaking awesome. Like, dude, I saw that and I was immediately like, yes. Absolutely yes. No question whatsoever that I want. So yeah, he's on the way as soon as, yeah, dude. Fantastic Four Wolverine, Fantastic Four Spider-Man wearing the blue and black. Oh, I'm 1,000% on board. I can't wait to add them to the Fantastic Four. Like, those are so good. Okay, so let's see. Let's get into this. Oop. Wah. Okay, bam. So, we're going to do that. We're definitely going to do that. We're going to check out the dailies just because I always like to see what's going on with the dailies. What is going on here? We got some statues to check out. That might actually be pretty cool. We're not going to touch clearance today because we're just not. We are going to touch that. We've talked about this before. I might click on this. I might look at this. We might check those out. Oh, these are on the way. Already pre-ordered them too, by the way. Ooh, we're going to look at that. That looks fantastic. Oh, and there's them. We will look at them, and we'll look at this, actually. And then we're going to go on to something else. So, that's where we're going to start today. So, let me check this here. What we got going on here? We got people... Okay. Uh, well, what's going on here? Okay. No. That would be a no. That would be that would be a no. Like absolutely you are incorrect. Let's see. That's how I felt about the 2017 Power Rangers movie. I was super skeptical of the suits. Then I saw the movie and was yeah, and that's possible. It's very possible that those could be cool. Dude, I know those blanks are actually pretty cool, dude. No, I absolutely agree. I'm not a customizer, but I'm going to say something. If I was, this is like the time to do so. Like the fact that they're even selling stuff like this is so cool. Like you could just make your own stuff. Epic Hacks is now I've never bought anything from Boss Fight. I've never bought anything from Boss Fight Studios. I have one thing on pre-order because I'm getting the Red Sonja. But like looking at some of the stuff that they do and seeing that they're doing stuff like this is awesome. You could take this and design 1,000 different things that you saw fit to design. Like these body bucks and just like it's hard to put into words just how important, how good this is. Different bodies too. So you have the different colors, you have the different bodies. Like this is solid. If you were a customizer, this is the way to go. You could buy like 10 of these and have $10 ready for repurposing right then and there and make hundreds of characters. Like if you have the talent for it, this is so cool. Like it is so cool. It really is. And yeah, that's going to be my first purchase ever from this. And we've talked about it before. I've already done full videos talking about the Epic Hacks Boss Fight Studio Red Sonja. I can't wait to get this on the shelf. Like I'm hearing some people say that this looks better than Loose Collector. I don't know that. I don't know that till I see it. I have to see it. I have to hold it in my hands. I think it looks great, but I think there might be definitive argument points on both sides as to both of them having something to offer that makes each one great in its own right. Okay, so we got Diamond Select tonight. Let's see. Ooh, 150. Let's check that out. I do not like the Weapon Hulk. I don't like Marvel's Doomsday. Like I didn't like it when they made it. I don't like it. I just don't like it. Like there's nothing about it that appeals to me. I'm being serious about that. Like literally nothing. That's kind of crazy. They're selling a Jedi Yaddle? That's awesome. Nightmare Before Christmas, pretty cool. Oh man, check him out. Diamond Selects is also one of those things. I've argued this for a long time. They just keep getting better. The quality of the models, like the qualities of the statues that they release, just get better and better and better and better and better and better and better. I thought for sure that this was already out. Why is it pre-order? And maybe it's just something that's coming back into rotation. Let's see. What are you sitting at? You're at $160. $160. Solid piece, full body, claws out, decent face. Maybe you could argue the Sentinel head could be better, but the part that you're paying for, the part you want detail on, is there. Nice muscular build right here. The way that the pants actually come up and kind of wrap around, that's definitely something. They're not painted on. They're fully sculpted. I like the belt. This is cool right here that they went through the trouble to do that, because they could look for some of these statues that are like in the $50, $60, $100 range. I mean, dude, Diamond Select gets better and better and better with what it offers statue-wise. It really does. It just gets better and better. Like for the price that you pay, it's really impressive because I've paid way more and gotten less from some companies. See, got Sonya on pre-order too? Yeah, dude, absolutely. I loved the Loose Collector one. So I'm very curious to see what a different company's build is going to look like. And in the long run, I do want to get, I know I keep saying that, I want to get that Vampirella, but I mean, $20 spin here is $20 you can't spin there. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to actually get it, but it sure would be cool. Let's see. Do I have the Red Sonja movie? I do not have the Red Sonja movie. I do not. I have both Conan the Barbarian movies redone on Blu-ray. I do not have the Red Sonja movie. Oh, what just happened? Oh, okay, Pizza Dog Hawkeye. That just happened because the whole thing just jumped on me and I ended up going to something else. So let's see. Yes, that War Machine is actually really solid. We've actually looked at that before. Have I seen the Not Pit? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. No. She's always had foot claws. That's a thing. So X-23, she has claws that come out from here. So she has two, and then she has one that comes out of her foot. So yeah, that's always been a thing. She's always had foot claws. Like that, because she has foot claws. For stabby kicks. Yes, for stabby kicks specifically. See, now you see and we see, and we've all explained it, and it's great, and everybody knows something. See, she looks great. X-23 is one of my favorite characters. 150 might be iffy for me. No, and I don't put that on. Look, it is $150. That's something to say. You would be paying for this, but I've paid like $200 for some statues that don't look that good. Like that's the reason I got to give it to Diamond Selects is they do a lot with a little. Like they give you a lot with the little bit that you pay. Some of their $50 statues rival other companies' $150 statues. That's what I'm saying. That would be cool to get a Morrow figure. That would be pretty cool. Let's see. Oh, I didn't know that. Am I following 5K Toys? That's a question, actually. Now that you just said that, I think I check them from time to time, but I don't think I've actually clicked follow on them. I need to do that so they actually come up more often. Like, I just realized that I just always click on Marvel Creations. I always click on Mattel Creations, so I wasn't actually following them. I was just getting lucky that they showed up in my feed from time to time. Oh, dude, absolutely. Absolutely. Jada is so good. Let's see. Let's move on from this. Okay. We got a John Wick here. What's he cost? 180? I want to say no. I'm going to say no. From that angle, it looks pretty good, but the other two angles really bothered me. That's about the best. You'd have to put this in a very specific place with very specific lighting and a very specific angle to get what you want out of it. I don't think that's good. I don't think this is working for me. Not a fan, I don't think. What about the Final Fantasy VII movie? What? Are you talking my thoughts on it? Like, oh crap, I didn't mean to do that. Turn that off. Accidentally loaded up the Epic Games launcher. Yeah, are you asking thoughts on the Advent Children movie? I used to like it. This gets rough. It's not that I don't like it, but I don't. That's really confusing. The only way I can explain it is that because I like Final Fantasy VII, and because I played the crap out of Final Fantasy VII, and because Advent Children was really cool at the time, I watched it, and I let all of its faults go because it was cool. Now, when I view it sometimes as a movie and have to judge it by its own merits of being a movie, it's okay. It's okay. It's like one of those movies I would give a 2.5. Or maybe even a 2.8. I think the average moviegoer would look at Advent Children and say, what? Like, it's horrifically explained. It's not something that any kind of average viewer can get into. The storyline is kind of garbage. The action scenes work, but they work in an over-exaggerated, like, fan anime-esque view of the entire thing with, like, more touchy, trippy dialogue than is actually good for anybody to take in, that makes no sense whatsoever. And then we all let it go because we loved Final Fantasy VII. And we were like, oh man, Final Fantasy VII, you see that, fought Bahamut. Like, and you're watching it and it's cool, but if I had to judge it on the merits of being a movie, it's kind of terrible. Like, this is like one of those things that I've discovered in my life, and it is what it is. I have a wife and I have a kid. And so sometimes I like something, and I'm like, I want to share that something. And then I share it. And then I find out I like it because of things that I like, not because something is actually like iconic or good or breaks the bounds or makes something a bigger thing than it is. Like, you show somebody the first two Superman movies, you might get somebody into Superman. You show somebody Advent Children, they take a nap. I'm just saying. That's the way that it feels. So while I watch it, I don't really have many people that I can share that experience with. And even I have to be realistic to myself when I watch it, that I'm watching it out of like a born nostalgia. I don't have too many feelings for Advent Children, but some of my friends love it. But they were around in the 90s eating... Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. They were just eating that shit up. Yeah. And that's exactly what I feel when I get into that. Unlike if you show somebody the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, that stands on its own as a movie that explains what's going on, that takes for granted a couple of things. If you know Ninja Turtles, it's even better. But if you knew nothing about Turtles, you could watch that movie and be like, this movie is awesome. Let's see here. That is 180? No. No. Like, no way. Overpriced. That sucks. I don't know if it's face or what. I think it's maybe just mainly his face. That's a no. Nope, I wouldn't buy that. No way. Nope. Oh, that's a good beast. I mean, it's a pretty good beast. At $60, that's better than what we just looked at. That beast is actually kind of good. He's got the upside down smile. You got the stuff shooting at him. He's kind of making a jump. He's got decent texture and whatnot all the way down. He's got a solid base. You can believe that he's kind of like in the danger room, dodging things. He's got the good... He's solid. Whoever was in charge of that Sabretooth, you did not do a fantastic job. It is. It is a nice hat, except for the fact that I'm under stage lights and it gets hot in here. Let's see. Mezco turtles, huh? And see, I'm trying very hard to keep myself away from constant buying. I need to finish at least the bulk main turtles for Super 7 Ultimates before I move on to something else. But I'm right there with you. I know what you mean. There's so many good turtle things out there right now. And yeah, the prices of a lot of these things are scaring me off. I mean, look, at $60 a pop for each Ultimate Turtle, it's already got me running in circles to know that it's going to cost me well over... It's going to cost like $200 just to net the 3 turtles I'm missing. Like, that's a lot. I don't know. I don't know about glasses. He doesn't... I'm used to him being in and out of wearing glasses. So that doesn't bother me at all. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's a beast for $60 as opposed to that other weird thing that I just saw. That was terrible. It depends. I've seen some statues that are in the $1,000 bracket that, like, if you had even one, it would be the absolute cornerstone of your entire collection. And then I've seen ones that are like $30-something that there's a reason they're $30 and you would never buy them. And statues are very hit and miss. It depends on the sculptor, the time that was put in, the love that went into the project, and the overseers and things like that. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and maybe you'll get real lucky, maybe you won't. But just really pay attention to the statues, because you want to spend decent money, you can get something decent. But you could spend okay money and get something that almost escapes its own quality. Yeah. Oh, that would be kind of cool. The Upside Down Beast, if he was reading a book, that actually would be kind of cool. No, exactly. That's what I mean. That's why I'm careful. I'm not going broke. I'm watching. I try as hard as I can to watch what I'm doing. It's almost become my. What do I say? It's almost become a tagline. But $20 I spend here is $20 I can't spend there. I'm always watching that. $60 beast statue. I prefer a $25 legend for the Legends for the Toon line. I think he has to be coming in the next wave, right? We have to be getting Beast. Like, we have to. And in fact, it's kind of put me off of ordering Beast, because I almost bought the Beast that has the jacket and everything, right? The Scientist Beast. But then I said to myself, with the 97 line running, the next wave, we almost have to get Beast. I would think. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't. I expect Beast and Morph in the next wave. I don't know who else, but in the next wave, I would imagine we're getting Beast and Morph to finish off like some of the team line. Most of the stuff I get is on the cheaper side. My problem is shelf space and storage. That's actually what's drove me sometimes to the more expensive side, because I know that my shelf space is prime real estate, and if I'm going to put something on there, I want it to be something that I feel will stand the test of time and matter to me down the line, rather than something that I would pick up, hang out with for 20, 40 minutes, and then like a day or two later be like, I could part with that to get something else. I am almost positive this is already a thing. I'm positive that I've seen her on shelves already. I think I visit a comic store that actually has her on display, this exact one that you could buy right now. This pre-order must be something coming back into circulation, because I know that I've seen this. $59, that's $60. The one I've seen prices at about $55, so that's got to be right. This has to be one that's already been on the market. Not that that's a bad thing. It's back in circulation or very soon for anybody that wants it. That's good. Look at this. McFarlane digging into its repertoire They are now selling an Alice Cooper. You can get Alice Cooper and Ozzy Osbourne. This is kind of wild. I've never really invested in these I'll just call them music figures. Like, I've seen them all over the place. I've seen like Kiss, and I've seen Kurt Cobain's and things of that nature, but I've never been interested. But I know somebody that this would probably very much, this would be a buy. And it's for the price as well. That's $25, which is about standard for a McFarlane figure right now. But you could get yourself Cooper. You could get yourself an Ozzy. Is that a good Ozzy, though? That kind of looks like it's a bad... Well, okay, that's not a terrible likeness there, but can we get, like... Could we please get multiple heads? Like, what are we doing here? The more I look at him, at $25, I'm willing to forgive a lot. It's actually not bad. But I'm more forgiving at $25. That's what I have to put out there when I tell you that. I'm more forgiving at $20 and $25 than I would be at like a higher price bracket. At a higher price bracket, I'd probably have a real problem with these. Yeah, he's got to be coming. They also haven't shown Jubilee and Morph, and you know they're getting figs. Yeah, so... Yeah, absolutely. The next wave, I would assume, I'm just making an assumption, if we have to put that makes sense. I would say that Morph, Beast, and Jubilee are coming in the next wave. That would give you a female character right there in the next line. Beast would be your bigger figure. Morph would be because you have to finish off the team. And then you imagine we're probably going to get some sort of bad guy in that wave, if not two. Yeah, and Lab Coat Beast is the one I'm considering, but I might not need Lab Coat Beast if I could get the X-Men 97 Beast and he would just fit right in line with the rest of the X-Men 97 wave that I'm already building on the shelf. Let's see. Do I like new Morph? Not to be rude, but he looks like the Chameleon. That's not new Morph. So, and this is not... People don't know everything. Okay? People don't know everything. That's what Morph actually looks like. That's what he looks like in the comics. That's what he's looked like in the comics for absolute years. And they're finally kind of going into X-Men 97, kind of fixing his appearance, because now he looks the way he's supposed to look. That is his face. And at the same time, while they're fixing his appearance, they're also kind of backtracking and adding to our own continuity to kind of give us both. When he's out in public, he uses the Morph face that we know from the series that we grew up with. But when he doesn't have to really hide who he is and he can just be an open mutant, he just uses his face, so he just looks like that. So that's actually kind of cool that we're getting almost the best of both worlds. Basically, both fan groups are kind of getting what they're wanting. And I know there's this like drive to hang on to the thing that you grew up with, and that's the way that you see it. But it is nice to see that, like, while he's in the club, he's using the face that you know. But while he's at home, he's using the face that I know. And that's actually really cool, because I like that it's kind of hitting both ideas here and giving kind of everybody kind of what they want. Sometimes they do restocks. Yeah, that's what I think it is. Yeah, that's Diamond Mode. I think that's exactly what that's supposed to be. Saw an Ozzy werewolf figure once. That would be wild. Yeah, the head sculpt's bothering me a little bit here. Like you're saying, Spaded. Like I'm forgiving at $25. This would not be a buy for me, but you get the idea. I don't think they'd include the bat, because this is not that Ozzy. In fact, you could see what album they're specifically going off of with the one they're trying to sell. Sinister would be cool. I'd almost hate to see the toy come out before we see him in the series, though, because it would kind of ruin it. But I mean, then again, we know what Mr. Sinister looks like. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. Let's see. Alice is only 6 inches tall, according to the site. So at a 6-inch scale figure, I'm curious. I don't know what his actual height is, but at 6 inches, let's go look at him real quick. Well, okay, let's go all the way back to the main screen. There we go. We'll do it this way. Bam. What is your height? 15.24. Because he might be a little bigger. He's a 6-inch scale, but he's coming out at 15.24. 6 inches, assuming each inch is a foot, is what we're actually looking at in that scale. So if Alice is over 6 feet, you get the idea. That's what we're that's what we're looking at. And I wish I could compare him. Like they don't do like group pictures. Like it'd be nice to see him like next to somebody, so we could get an idea if they scaled him proper to the 6-inch line. The 6-inch scale specifically that McFarlane toys go by. So it's really questionable in terms of how big he should be and how big they've made him. But I think he's a little more than 6 inches if we actually measure him out, which would make him over 6 foot in the scaling idea. And he's $25. I mean, that's pretty solid if you're into that kind of thing. Let's go back here. No, nobody can know everything. Heck, I only know what I know because years ago I like went into a comic book store and I literally bought for the 25-cent issues. I bought the Excalibur books or whatever, and that's the only reason I even knew Morph looked like that in the first place. Age of Apocalypse Marvel Legends line has Morph's real face, so I wasn't too shocked for it to come back in the news. Yeah, I was very happy when I seen him. I was like, oh, we're going like original face here, but then it kind of hit me. I was like, but they didn't do that in our series. He never had that face. So like, what are they getting at here? Then they did that episode where they go into the club. I'm not trying to give it away. If you haven't seen the 2 episodes, there's 2 episodes. Go watch them. In that episode, they go into a club, and when they go in there, he switches his face back to the one that we knew from our series, and I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. They're playing angles where they're like, hey, this is for the comic book guys, and this is what you remember, so he does still look like this, yada yada. Hey, what's going on, man? Let's see. Okay. See, and I'm really curious about that myself. Look, when Madeline Pryor knocked on the door, and I already have the figure. I know the Goblin Queen is coming, but when Madeline Pryor knocked on the door and she was like, I need help, I was like, where are they going to go with this? Because like Jean did not die and then disappear and then he dated Madeline. You get what I'm saying? Like we're doing things way out of order. So it really opens up for a whole new kind of continuity and storyline here. And of course, we're dealing with X-Men that were never part of that story in the first place. Because there's characters here that simply were not there. Because we're looking at, around that time was like X-Factor, if I remember right. So yeah, like we're really playing off like characters that we didn't have, situations we didn't have, powers we didn't have access to, and then possible solutions that we were not able to do at the time, and how do we get to that point when we just drop her? Like, I'm very interested to see where they go. If they knock it out of the park, if we do 10 episodes, every episode does well, the storyline works out well, I'd love to see more of X-Men 97. So far, I'm on board. I have things I could complain about. But where my absolutes lie is, can they tell a story that keeps me interested? If they can do that, I'm willing to forgive quite a bit in terms of this X-Men, especially because it's so nice to have them back. Fingers crossed for a new Colossus. Actually, Sunspot. I didn't even think about that. Duh! Sunspot. Yeah, you're right. Because he even showed the form and everything. So yeah, Sunspot's definitely got to be coming down the line. Do we see him in Wave 3 or Wave 4? I don't know. But he's got to be on the way, right? He's got to be. And then, yeah, Colossus would be cool. Not that I'm running for it though, because I've got the Colossus Juggernaut 2-pack on the way, so I might be in the same position that I was with Rogue. Like, do I really need 2 Colossus? I probably don't. He might be one of the ones that I skip if they do that, because the Colossus I have coming is the one that I want. So I don't know. I'm right there with you. I get exactly what you're saying here. Interesting. Yeah, that's actually that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's they just did the re-release of a Colossus, but I mean minor changes with a repaint. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it wouldn't surprise me, but maybe we're looking at Wave 5 or even 6 for Colossus and X-Men 97. If we even see Colossus in X-Men 97, because really what they're going to release are characters that are actually in the X-Men 97 series, and we're only going to get 10 episodes. We're 2 in so far, so Sunspot, like he said, makes a lot of sense because he's literally there. He's already there. So we have to get him at some point. I don't know how far down the road, but he has to be one that's coming, right? Yeah. I love that 2-pack. And just because we're here and we're at Big Bad, we're going to go look at him. Because, yeah, like... Oh! Stupid hand. I'm trying to reach around my microphone and whatnot. There he is. Look at that. Sold out. I'm glad I got my bid in. I got my bid in fast. Like, I seen somebody came into Toy Network and was like, hey, this is up. And I was like, da-da-da! Like, immediately, like, went right onto my phone, went to me immediately in there, immediately put him, because I missed this. I did not get it when it first came out. And I have kicked myself for that forever. I did not get a Colossus. I've always wanted a Colossus. This is 80s Colossus. This is the one I want. I want Speedo wearing weird Colossus that, for all the talk that we get about women in comic books, this dude is wearing boy shorts, hooker boots, and an open tank top thing that leaves nothing to the imagination. You can basically see 80s Colossus metal nutsack. It's just saying, he was looking but for as ridiculous as he looked, this is the one I want on my shelf. Always has been, always will be. That's my Colossus. That's my ridiculous looking Colossus, and I'm finally going to get him for the shelf. And on top of that, I finally get to finish this Juggernaut that I never got, because I was able to put this much of him together. I got all the way up here. I never got his legs. And because I never got the legs, I never got to finish Colossus. So he's just been sitting on top of my radio for years. And for years, I've never been able to finish him, and I want him on the shelf. And now I have a chance. I mean, yeah, that's fine. Put whatever label you want on him. I mean, he was always cross-dressing and everything like that in the original series and wearing dresses and doing all kinds of crazy stuff anyway, so Morph can do whatever he wants. And X-Men, for this stupid argument that people are going to make, because I've seen that too, where people are like, oh, the X-Men went woke. Wake up. You must not have been paying attention. They've always been there. Let's see. I like the face change for public use. Makes sense. If I had those powers, and that's so cool. That I love that. I love that because it is. Yeah. Now here's something that you just brought up that has me questioning too. Are we about to do a reveal where the woman that we've been calling Jean in X-Men 97? Now I got to go back and watch the entire series again. Season 1 is in my mind because we reviewed it for Fandom Night. The other seasons I own, but it's been a while since I've watched them. Is it possible that the woman that knocked on the door at the end of that episode is not Madeline Pryor? But the woman that knocked on that door is Jean Grey. And Madeline Pryor is the woman that we are currently calling Jean that just had the baby. That would be wild as well. Yeah, I don't know. If they knock this out of the park, and that's what I mean, that's what I'm waiting for. The story is the only thing that really matters. They're taking me for a roller coaster ride, and I'm ready. Let's see the 10 episodes. I want to see the 10 episodes, then I will judge the series. But for right now, I'm interested, I'm intrigued, there's plenty to talk about, the animation holds up for what it is, and there's plenty for them to play with. I'm on board as it stands right now. Yes! Horde Trooper is coming to Masterverse. He's got that little goblin dude inside of him. What is that about? Is there something I don't know about the Horde Troopers? Because I've watched the entire original series of He-Man. I've watched the entire She-Ra series, and I've watched all of Revelation, all of Revolution. I've read all the comic books, literally all of them, and I've never seen that little goblin dude inside the Horde armor that I can think of. So, what is that? Is that just something I don't know? I'm very interested. I'm very interested. What is that? I don't know. I personally don't know. I'm interested to know. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. I was wondering where you were. There wasn't one last week, though. Let's see. Yeah, that's exactly. I'm just happy it's back, man. And I'm ready. I'm ready to see where it takes me, man. Let's see. Honestly, with the success of the show, I see the Legends line being a thing for a while, and they could do a whole Brotherhood of Mutants. Absolutely. Let's see. Actually, Jean was the one that knocked on the door because Madeline is the one who births Cable. In normal circumstances, in the normal storyline, yes, that's true. I 100% agree with you, Sario. You are right. Normally, Madeline Pryor is the one that has the baby. She has baby Cable. She has Nathan. And then the entire Inferno thing takes place, and then he needs to go to the future, and the Goblin Queen, and yada, 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 yada. But does that necessarily mean that it has to happen that way in X-Men 97? It is a different universe, and they are kind of allowed to play by their own rules should they want to. Are they setting up for something crazy? I'm really curious, what's going on. And if they are about to drop the idea that the person that knocked on the door was Jean, when did the switch happen? What part of the story are they going to backtrack and show us that Jean has been missing for said amount of time? Because when he dated Madeline in the comics, he knew she was Madeline. He knew that. He didn't call her Jean. It wasn't like a mistake. She didn't take Jean's place. She was a person. You get what I'm saying? So what the X-Men 97 cartoon is doing really opens them up to a million possibilities. This X-Men show is the first cartoon I've set myself to watch since the last X-Men cartoon ended. Really? So you didn't watch any of the other X-Men? Not that I have either. I know X-Men Evolution was really big for certain people and everything, and I was interested in it. I watched episodes here and there, but I will agree that I have not really paid dire attention to an X-Men cartoon until just now again. I watched the one in the 90s, it's the one I grew up with, it was the one I cared about, and then I moved on to a bunch of other things. I read the comics, I watched the movies, yada yada. And now here we are, X-Men 97 comes in, My X-Men is back, it's the series that I couldn't get enough of, and so I'm right back with it. So yeah, that's interesting. Let's see here. The fact that there wasn't one last week makes it like I've missed 3 weeks, and I'm Oh my, we are talking in the chat today. No, this is good actually. Holy crap. Let's see. No, I get it. I will never not understand working a lot. I completely understand. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you missed your opportunity. Like truly sorry, because I think I jumped on with luck. Like literally it posted on Instagram and was like, "Hey, this is a thing." And I knew instantly this was going to be gone fast. I saw that post, went to Big Bad, clicked on it, hit the pre-order immediately. I didn't even think about it because I knew that if I hesitated for even 10 minutes, I probably was never going to get one. That sucks. 12-hour days are rough, man. Hopefully the money pays off for you. You know what I mean? Yeah, it sold out fast, man. Like, it sold out very, very, very fast. The superheroes on the outside of their clothes, the reason superheroes did that is because most superhero costumes, back when they were invented, were designed off circus strongmen strong outfits. So circus strongmen would often wear like a type of spandex material to kind of show off their build, and then they would wear trunks to put it as nice as possible so their nuts didn't fall out. That's really what it was. So they were referred to as like strongman trunks. So those aren't underwear on the outside of their pants. They're not underpants. Those are strongman trunks left over from the creation of the superhero costumes in the age that they really became popular. And yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. I'm the kind of person that money is nice. We all need it. But the time, my time is more important than any money they could ever pay me. Any money they could ever pay me. Yeah, it's nice to say that I worked all this time and I got all this money and I can go do something fun. But I would rather do something boring with my kid or sit in this room and do this and just talk to you guys. I'm not making money doing this. You see what I'm saying? But the time is more important. This little activity right here will always trump the money that I get from overtime. Always. Does not matter. My life matters to me more than their money. Always has. Always will. And I've missed out on a lot of money because of that, while like some people that I know will easily put in those 16-hour monsters and just like wreck a week and then come home and they got like $4,000 and they're like, I'm going to buy this and go here and do this. And I'm like, I can't do none of that stuff. But I mean, look, on my deathbed, you will not hear me say, I wish I would have worked more. No, absolutely not. I did not grab Cyclone. He was one that I skipped on Mattel Creations, but he looked cool. I'm going to be honest. He was one of those characters I have zero association with. I missed out on Masters of the Universe. Like I'm an adult getting into it. That's the truth of it. So he's not something I have any nostalgia behind. When I seen him, I was like, he is cool. I like that he came with tornadoes and he actually spins and he's got that thing behind him and everything. If I'd have given it another 10 minutes, I probably could have talked myself into buying him, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I was at work. He released late. I was not on break. I couldn't walk off to like buy him. And then I saw the message that was like sold out. And I was like, well, okay. He got one. Awesome. And I'm happy for anybody that did. You snagged one too? Absolutely awesome. And I'm looking forward to seeing pictures and reviews and stuff like that of him. Now, if he comes out Masterverse, I will have to go to the bathroom because I'll be buying it. The Masterverse is what I do not pass on. I've pretty much set my mind now that if at all possible, I want a complete run of Masterverse on my shelf. There are a couple things that are going to be tough if I ever can do it at all, like the like the He-Man Skeletor pack, and then if I get them, I'm an opener. Do I really want to open that? No. Now I do have it set right now. I found a deal. I can for $70 I can buy the SDCC exclusive Scareglow. I can buy him. I have somebody that's willing to sell it for me for $70. I don't think that's that bad of a deal, especially since he has the box and everything. It's basically mint. It's brand new. It's not opened. And I don't have to open that because I have Scareglow from the normal line, and I can just open that and then keep him on the shelf, and that's really cool. But like, and I guess to be fair, I have the 40th anniversary He-Man. So there'd be no reason for me to open the battle chest thing. I don't know. I have a chance to buy that too, but like, I don't know about that. Decisions to make. Let's see. Oh, no, absolutely. The Magneto trial was cool. However, that look, that WWF Magneto, I'm not into it. I know they did it in the comics, but I didn't like it then either. Please go back to your normal costume. Like, I do not like that thing. I've never liked the Magneto M WWF. He's gonna go tag team with frickin' Hulk Hogan and fight the Ultimate Warrior character looking guy. I really don't like it. I just don't like it. Let's see. Also missed the Walmart drop on the new Snake Man, and the one I was most excited about, Mutated Mossman. Oh, man. No, Mutated Mossman looks awesome, man. He looks awesome. He's one of those things, just wait. Just wait it out. He's not gone. So far, I've watched, these things keep coming back into the stores. I'm going to cross my fingers along with you. I don't think we've lost the ability to get him. He'll come back into circulation. I'm almost positive. Mutated Mossman is too good. He'll be back. In terms of the Snake Man, I know what you're talking about. I don't know what their bring back is going to be. I'm cross my fingers for you, man. You see, Trooper is a new Eternia release, so continuity is newish, maybe a throwback to an old concept. Okay, so that's probably what the little goblin is, because if it's a new Eternia, they're showcasing an original idea with also the idea that we ended up getting. Okay, that's cool. No, I like that. So, okay, I'm on board for it. I didn't even stop to think about that. If he's new Eternia, then I don't have to tie him to any continuity. He's just a really cool idea now. Let's see. Going to Fan Expo Philly this year, I'm probably going to be checking out some figure vendors. Most likely a lot of shit gonna be upscaled prices. Yes, you will. But if I find something worth the money, I'd get it. No, absolutely. And this is true for any one of the cons you want to go to. Any con you go to is extra money. I mean, we know that, right? We're not oblivious to that. We're doing a lot of talking right now, so I'm going to go back up here while we talk. All these cons are extra money. They always cost more. And when you're a toy collector, when you know the prices of this stuff, sometimes you get to these cons and you see a table and they're asking for just egregious overprice, and you're like, no, screw you, because you know it ain't right. And then other times when I've been to certain tables and they're asking for like maybe $5, $7 more. Okay. I know you got to make a profit. I know you had to travel here. I know there's work involved in how this goes. I know you got to take something home. I'm willing, because it's right here. I can see it. I can touch it with my hands. I can take it home and enjoy it right now. I'll give you the extra $5 or $7 or whatever. But if you're going to try to overcharge me $20-something on something that I blatantly know I could get on Amazon right now for $10, screw you. Just always, just keep your wits about you, because there's deals to be found there too. Sometimes these guys are just looking to get rid of inventory. So, man, keep your eyes open. Good luck to you, man. Happy hunting, man. Let's see. You were actually one of the first to tip me off about the mutated Moss Man back. Awesome. Let's see. Got into figure collecting late, so I missed a lot of cool stuff. No, I get that. I absolutely get that. 100%. Because, like, look, man, we all start somewhere. And even had you started figure collecting early, I mean, I've been in and out of figure collecting my whole life. Like, literally my whole life. And even still, there are plenty of things that I missed, depending on what situation was taking place. Only got back into collecting as an adult relatively recently, and there's some stuff like 5 years ago that I love to have. Yeah, and if we want them, we're going to pay real money for them. Real money for them, man. Like, I could tell you a couple of different things that I've wanted for the shelf, that I've wanted for a long time, that, like, dude, it cost me like $80 to get my hands on Victor Von Doom from the Super Scroll collection. Like, I want that Super Scroll line, and what put a break on it was I was going to get all of it in like one go. I had a bonus coming, and I was going to get all of it, and I was kind of going one piece at a time here and there, and the next thing I knew, I bought She-Hulk, and she showed up topless with furry feet. So I sent her back. And now I'm in a situation where I want her. I want all of it because I want the Super Scroll. But, like, I'm now a lot more cautious as to who I'm buying from. So I'm being real careful. And that's slowed down my progression, which is not necessarily good because, like, Mr. Fantastic is going up in value almost weekly. He's anywhere from like $60 to $80, give or take, depending on what vendor you find him. And I've gone to different I've gone to shows like toy shows and whatnot, and nobody is selling anything from the Super Scroll line. So it's really hard to get that Fantastic Four on the shelf, like really hard. X-Men Evolution gets good, starts a bit rough though. I mean, it's not that I was ever against it. It's just that it felt like it changed a lot, and it wasn't what I was looking for at the time. Wolverine the X-Men. I remember I watched that. I did watch Wolverine and the X-Men. I watched all of that. I remember I owned it on Blu-ray for a while. Does Wolverine voice still hold up? I haven't had a problem with him yet. Like hearing him, I haven't had a problem with him. In fact, if you want the one voice actor that's really bothering me, it's Rogue. Rogue is bothering me. Like, she's fine, but her voice sounds really scratchy and almost old. Like it's a way older Rogue than it's supposed to be. And that's kind of bugging me. Wait, wasn't one last week? Wasn't there a stream last Friday? I'm not sure what you're asking me. I do this stream here. I do this every Friday. If I can get up here every Friday from like 9 to 11, I try to get up here and do a stream. So in terms of me, there's a stream every Friday. If you missed one, you just go back into my live list and we always talk about random stuff. This is how these go. We look at toys, we figure out conversations, and we just run with them. So yeah, if that's what you're asking. If you're asking about Fandom Night, no, there was not a stream last week. There was a stream the week before that, and there was a premiere that happened like a day or two ago, and yeah. Oh, awesome. No, that's great news. Whoever needs it, Whoever needs it, get in there right now. Thanos is putting it in the chat. I'm sure you guys are in the chat, so you probably see it. But yeah, for anybody that's not paying close enough attention to the chat, Colossus still up on Entertainment Earth. Get in there because, man, this pack is awesome. You don't have this pack. If this is one you missed out on, I missed out on it. I want this. Like, this is an absolute prize item for the shelf. For me, it is. Anybody else order the Ben Cooper costume kids collection? I have not. I have not. Will I? There's a possibility. I'm arguing with myself about it because it would be nice to have, but I really want to finish the stuff that I'm currently working on. And the more that I end up, like, I can't just pre-order like crazy. At some point I'll get myself in trouble, but I do want it. And I know that if it goes away, I won't get it. And then it'll end up just like the Colossus thing, but I can't put myself in a state of FOMO because I can't just buy everything. You know what I mean? So I do want it. I have not got it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm fighting with myself. Maybe if I'm lucky and it hasn't been that deep of a dive that people haven't picked it up like crazy, maybe I'll pick it up around the same time that the Wolverine and Spider-Man kind of show up. That would be kind of cool. Never knew about superhero underpants. Now I finally have an answer from my friends every time they ask and give me shit for Superman's trunks. Yeah, no, absolutely. We actually talked about that on Fandom Night a couple of times. Let's see. Yes, to hold thy junk. Let's see. You're trying to complete Origins. Ooh. You got a task ahead of you, sir, because there's a lot. There's a lot of Origins, and a lot that are hard to get. Like, if you didn't get in on the ground level, which you seem like you probably did, to be fair, but if you didn't get in on the ground level, that can be almost impossible, I've noticed. Some of that stuff is overpriced. Like, the secondary market for Origins can be absolutely cutthroat, man. Oh, back is messing with me. I don't know if it's just... I was working tubes today. My back is not doing me any favors. Okay. No, awesome. Oh my gosh. Let's see. I understand not getting into He-Man stuff until I was an adult thing. That's how I am for G.I. Joe. Didn't get into it until a few years ago when it started high school. Yeah, so like with G.I. Joe is a weird thing for me too. See, I loved G.I. Joe and was hugely into it in a play aspect. Because, like, I played with G.I. Joes. I didn't watch G.I. Joe and I didn't read G.I. Joe. I just saw them on the shelves. They were cool army men. I picked them. I put them up on my, I bought them, kind of created my own backstories and then ran with them. I loved G.I. Joes for what they were. So there's a lot of G.I. Joes that I grew up with that I remember having that now I see them in the classified and I'm like, I want that. That would be awesome. You know what I mean? But then, like, I haven't dove on some of them, but I am slowly putting together classifieds that I find that I really like too. Let's see, Mondo. Oh, I did see that. Yeah, the giant Mondo, old style. He was like a retro Scareglow. I saw that. I did see that. Mondo, I have never invested in Mondo. I always tell myself I want to. Then I always tell myself, Bill, you don't have that kind of money. Then Mondo shows me some pictures of Teela. They've got my money. When that I'm trying to really keep my eye on that one, because when Mondo does Teela, I need that. That'll be my first Mondo. Teela's my favorite Masters of the Universe character. Like, I really started to like her comic book wise. That's where I really, really got into Teela. Like, I love the way that she's depicted in the comic books. And so, like, I need that. Like, Teela on the shelf, Mondo, absolutely. That is my entry point into Mondo, and then I'm probably going to have a problem. Because Mondo costs real money. And I don't always have real money. But, like, I'll need it. Let's see. That black jumpsuit Magneto looks like an old punk rocker to me. He just looks like a WWF guy to me. Like he's supposed to come out and be part of a tag team and fight the Ultimate Warrior and crap like that. It bothers me. And yes, every time I hear Walmart exclusive, I'm right there with you. It bothers me. The Walmart exclusives scare me because their shelves don't stock in a way that makes me feel like I'm ever going to get something. And if they do, they stock the one thing and that's it forever and you never see the others. Like, it scares me to death to see that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing that they're bringing, that worries me. Because I don't know if I'm ever going to get them. Like, my Walmart has a bad habit. It'll probably stock like 40-something Michelangelos and that's it. And I'll never get another figure ever. We still, in my Walmart, have Batmobiles all over the place, to the point where they're trying to get rid of the Batmobile. They're like, please take it for $5. Just get it out of the store. But we've never got a single figure from that wave anywhere in any of the 4 Walmarts that surround my area. Not one figure from that wave has touched the store shelves, but those Batmobiles are all over the place. Like, what happened? Let's see, I'm getting ready to offload some figures for space. Just can't bring myself to ask retail or above. I have a bit of a rule myself. When I get rid of stuff like that, I will be very careful as to my asking price. I ask prices that make sense to move product out of my way, while bringing in just enough money that I can actually do something with it, while guaranteeing that somebody that actually wants it will get it. So like I sold a couple of Marvel Legends not way too long ago, like a Wolverine and stuff like that I was no longer going to be using. And when I offloaded them, I was only asking like $10 a figure, sometimes $7 a figure, because like, to me, if I could sell 2 figures and that gets me 1 new figure on the shelf, that's a win for me. Somebody got something, they will love it. I got something, I will love it. And I can add the normal money. I work a full-time job. Like, I'm not aching for cash necessarily. So anything that I bound out of the collection that then nets me even half the value of what it's worth, I'm actually okay with that for what it's worth. As long as I don't cheat myself. I'm not stupid enough to take a $400 statue and ask for $200. But at the same time, I understand that loose figures carry a different kind of value and impression than figures that are in box. So that's another thing too that I consider when I sell stuff like that. Because if I sell stuff, my intention is, in a way, I want somebody that maybe is not an opener to see what it's like to hold the figure. Because there are some people that they never, ever, 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 ever will hold their figures. They are in-box, 100% in-box collectors. They're not going to open them. But maybe if they came across my table and they were, say, Black Series collections for Star Wars, right? They may come across my table and see that the figures on my table are only asking for like $10, $15 or something like that, and they may very well buy a Han Solo off my table because they can open it and play with it without having to damage the one that they have. And that's kind of the market that I'm selling into at that point, because like, I'm an opener, I'll buy a loose figure. Most collectors, I've noticed, are kind of squeamish about that, especially if you're dealing in figures that are newer. Like even some of Playmates and whatnot, like the Star Trek they're hard to sell loose because like, you can get them in box for like $7. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah. I don't know if it's so much as a milestone, but no, this show does pretty well, actually. 11 watches, no, awesome. Let's see. Oh my, these comments are flowing in, man. You're kind of right, they are. But that's awesome. Keep it coming. We're getting it going here. Let's see. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. So you must have felt the same way as me. The rogue thing is bothering me a bit. Her voice sounds a little scratchy and her delivery seems a little bit off. I'm not 100% buying into how she sounds, but I'm not put off yet. I'm not put off. I don't feel like it's bad. I just feel like I'm not vibing with it. Maybe I need a couple of episodes, or she needs to kind of find her stride. I mean, in the long run, they hired her for a reason. She must have been hired for a reason. The director has to be hearing something or seeing something that I'm not seeing yet. Roberto's voice actor is the worst. Guy sounds bored the whole time. Really? Oh, okay, well, isn't he, though? Isn't that kind of the character he's playing right now? Because that's the vibe I get from him, is like detached. So I don't know. Like, I don't know that it bothers me, because that's what I get from him in terms of the character in general. So I don't think it's bothering me the way that it's bothering you. I'm not a completionist, so I can jump around a little bit, a little more than most things I collect. I'm more focused on specific characters and themes rather than lines. Absolutely, I'm the same way. No, I get that. I'm an absolute cherry picker. Every single item on the shelf has to appeal to me on some form of personal level. Every single item on the shelf has to have a story that relates to me, my likes, my values, my interests, or it doesn't belong on the shelf. Period. So I never find myself in a position, because I see that sometimes and it blows my mind. I see channels that do things like, what are the 10 worst figures in my collection? And I'm like, I don't have that. I don't have that. What are the 10 figures I dislike the most? I couldn't do that episode if I wanted to. I cannot pull 10 items off of this shelf and tell you these are the worst figures I've ever bought. I don't have them. If they were bad, I either, one, never bought them or got rid of them very quickly. I have zero interest in holding on to something that I don't like when I only have the space that I have. I've never understood that mentality, like, at all. Let's see. I have most of the Origins. Some of the early exclusives I've wrote off, like 5-pack and Faker. Oh man, that one Faker that came out, that the Faker with the duplicate, that would have been cool. Like, but I got in too late. I got in a couple years into Origins and it had already happened. And of course I was never going to get a chance at that realistically. So like there's some cool stuff that I've missed out on just because I got in late. And I very much cherry picked the line of Origins. But I still love Origins. Origins is not leaving the shelf. I'm just very particular about when I buy into it right now. It has to really catch my attention. Let's see. I tried being a NECA TMNT. Oh my god. I understand. Because NECA, it just cranks them out, man. Like, and they cost $50, $60 a piece, and they just crank them out. Like, that could be hard. I finally got an Origins Frogmonger. I was wanting him forever and finally shelled out the $45 before paying the price. You know what? $45 ain't bad for Frogmonger. I understand where you're coming from, but I wouldn't say that you... How do I put this? I wouldn't say that you paid overvalue necessarily. Let's be honest. The chance that he's coming out again is incredibly slim. So his value is somewhat justified, especially if he's got the slip cover. That's cool. I don't know if you got him boxed or whatever. But like, I would tell you that for Frogmonger, $45 is not bad. In fact, I think it's downright reasonable when compared to what was happening with She-Ra. Remember when they released She-Ra and then she like sold off the shelves and then she was selling for like $90 a figure bare minimum? And I remember that was like right when I came into the line and I was like, oh, She-Ra's one of the ones I want, because I'd like bought like 10 or 12 of them at that point. And I said, that's one that I definitely want. So I started hunting for her. And I was like, what? I was like, no way. There's no way. I was like, I'm not paying that. She is not worth that. She's an $18 figure. I'm not jumping up to $90. So I just waited. I waited it out. I knew that she was a mainline. I knew there had to be a rerun on her. There had to be. She was too important, too big, and too integral to the actual lineage to not have another run. So I just waited. I waited very patiently, and I got her way later in the run, but I did finally get her, and I only paid the $18 because I got her on like a third print run. And you know what? I'm fine with that. But something like Frogmonger, the chances that he's coming back into circulation are incredibly slim. So I'd say you made a good call. 45, he's only going to get more expensive. If I'm guessing the market right. I could be wrong. But if I'm guessing the market right, it's not going to happen. Like, he's just going to get more expensive. I think you probably did just fine, man. Let's see. You know, I only recently found out that knowing is half the battle was from G.I. Joe. I just heard it a lot random quote on videos, but never got the context until a few years ago. Yeah, it's because like back then they had to prove that there was this stupid thing where you couldn't just like make a TV show that was a toy commercial. You weren't allowed to do that at the time. And so what they were doing was they would basically put the show out and then they had to prove its value. It had to be teaching people something. It had to teach kids something. Or B, it had to prove that it was a property that could stand on its own without the toys. I would argue that He-Man could have easily stood on its own without the toys because the show was done well. It had decent continuity for its time. It didn't have to take itself too seriously, but when it did, every episode that came out was a mild morality play. It was kind of instructing and teaching you something, and it was holding a decent value. And it was little Conan the barbarian fantasy, like warrior, superhero kind of mix, and it worked. Everything about it worked, and the characterization of the characters were solid enough that they literally have become iconic. And not just because kids liked them, but because the show actually worked on its own. So even without the toys, Motu would have worked. I honestly, truly believe that. But because they were morality plays, at the end of every episode, they were able to add that extra thing and say, hey, in today's episode, we learned don't do drugs, yada yada. But they would tell that by creating a system where like the actual story was about like a character that felt like she was underutilized or didn't have the same ability as a friend that had outgrown her, so she was using like a performance enhancer and yada yada. Like real morality plays. And that's the thing that separates Motu from a lot of other cartoons of its time and really makes it a standalone. Where G.I. Joe, that was shoehorned in. And I'm not saying G.I. Joe couldn't have made it on its own. I'm saying that they were overdoing it. Like they knew that they had to match the criteria or their show could have been canceled because it would have been counted as a toy commercial and kids can't discern the difference between the show and the toys and it's just a big toy commercial. And that was the big argument at the time. So like, because that was going on, G.I. Joe would do an entire episode where like, a bunch of animals turn mean or whatever. Because Cobra has this thing and they release this ray or whatever and it makes the animals go crazy and the animals attack the G.I. Joes. And so then they gotta like kind of defend themselves and they gotta go destroy the machine and then they get their animal friends back, yada yada. And then they would follow that up with, don't steal bikes, kids. And I'm like, what? Like, what? Back up. Like that had nothing to do with the half an hour that you just gave me in terms of entertainment. Like, that wasn't a morality play that taught me something and now you're actually imposing the lesson on me. You just added this as like a public service announcement to justify the show to keep it from being taken down. I understand why they did it, but it also makes it a big joke that doesn't hold up the same way as the morality play that happens at the end of every Motu episode. I think they're very different things. I was really tempted by Mondo Gillman Creature from Black Lagoon. I can understand that. I actually do want Gillman, but I'm fighting myself. Do I want the black and white Gillman, or do I want him in color? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm arguing with myself on a constant here. What one do I want? Now, you're talking about Mondo. I'm actually talking about NECA, but this comes back to it. Mondo, like I said, I know where I'm going to start there. But Gillman is one I want for the shelf. I have Michael Myers. I have Freddy Krueger. I'd like to get a solid Jason Voorhees. I also would like the Monster, the Bride, and Gillman. I think that's my horror movie display that I want. And then I'll go on from that point and get other things. But Gillman was my favorite Universal monster. I actually didn't even know Mondo did one. I probably would have been that might have got me on board back then, because I didn't know that. Okay, I have to not buy anything else for a bit. Got an epic all-in Animal Wars. Oh, you're going in on the Animal Warriors, dude. Those look cool. I'm really digging the lizard men. I think that's just because of like a preference of mine. I like lizard men creature things are cool. But like those animal dudes, those animal warriors, those are awesome, man. Those are so freaking awesome. Dude, I can't wait to see pictures of those. When you start getting those, dude, some of those are unbelievably cool, man. Let's see. Walmart should be allowed to have exclusives. It's true, man, because like you can't get half of what they're like, we have exclusives. I'm like, great, that means nobody else can have them. Like literally nobody, because I can't even buy them from you, let alone get them from the exclusive dealer, which is you. Like, and because you made it exclusive, dude, that drives me crazy. I never see TMNT or Motu at my Walmart. So my Walmart, one of them carries 2 pegs of Motu. That's it. The other Walmarts that I'm in easy shopping distance of about 4 or 5 of them. You could argue maybe even 6 in all honesty. But because my route, the way I go to work and everything like that, I'm access to easily 4 or 5 Walmarts. And out of all of them, there is one that sells Motu. And that is it. That's it. They're nowhere. I don't know why, but it's been completely removed from the shelves at the other Walmarts. And I don't know what happened. And it's actually one of the reasons that pretty much almost all of my Motu has been bought online. Because it's very hard to find in this area for some reason. It's just, you can't find it. In fact, I looked for so long to try to get Fisto that finally one night by chance, my buddy Sario, he found it and bought it for me. He was like, I know you're looking for this. And he bought it and brought it over one day when we went to do the podcast. And I was like, yes! Because I wouldn't have found him. I wouldn't have found him. See plenty of TMNT. Now, TMNT is a thing that shows up a lot in my Walmarts, though. Like there's a lot of pegs of TMNT, but it's always like a lot of the same guys. Let's see. You have to actually travel to see toys. I'm in a pretty small town, and we only have one Walmart. They never have anything. See, I'm around a pretty big area of cities, so that does help me a little bit. But at the same time, I often see like people posting online. They're like, "Oh my god, like they're doing all this clearance stuff," and my area never does clearance on like anything. And if they do, it's like $2, $2 or something stupid like that. They just don't do it. The only exception is that I was able to get a Batwing from Superpowers for exuberantly less. I bought one for $5. And I saw a couple of Batmobiles, but like I said, for some reason they got 40 of these things and none of the figures. So I don't understand how the distribution works to Walmarts. I cannot figure out how their ordering works. I don't get it. Let's see. Gambit's a madman for oil frying. Dude, yeah, what was that? What was that? And then he literally tries to blow one up in Scott's face. Man, I get it. I get that we grew up in a time where they didn't know how to write for Scott, because if you don't know Scott from the comic books, you don't know Scott. You don't know Scott. If you only know him from the cartoon, where they specifically use Scott as a plot device to make Wolverine cool, and they're not doing anything else with him, you don't know Scott. You just don't. Like the people that think that Scott's a Boy Scout or basically a cop, you don't know Scott. You just don't. You ain't been here yet. Scott ain't about that, man. I just put it out there. But I do notice that it almost seems like they're trying to fix that. In X-Men 97, they gave him some real cool crap to do, and they're kind of trying to give him real reasons for the way that he thinks and the way that he acts and the decisions that he's making, and it all works for me right now. While at the same time, I also have to say, if I was Scott, and you tried to throw an explosive food that will explode in my face, if Jean hadn't done her little trick, because you don't know that Jean is there, Gambit. You threw an explosive food at my face while frying them in a belly shirt. Like you said, that's some real burns. I'm looking right at you. Nah, I'm not playing games. I'll put you through the house, Gambit. You want to blow my teeth out my mouth? You're going through the wall. Like, Scott is broken in ways that people do not give him credit for. I know it's the original voice actors for some of the X-Men. I haven't purposely looked up. I'm kind of trying to purposely hear it. You know what I'm talking about? Like I want to be like, oh yeah, that guy's him, or he's awfully close, or I feel like that's a little different. And some of the actors that it's definitely them, you could tell they're older. Some of them sound the same, and it's almost unbelievable how much the same they still sound. And then some of them you can definitely tell they're older. And then a couple I've been like, is that the same person? Let's see. Those Ruler of the Sun packs, we had those sitting in my Target, both of them sitting in my Target forever. Like, they could not get rid of them. And I kept seeing everybody like, oh, I can't find them. I can't get them anywhere. And I'm like, we got them. We got them, but we can't get the simple stuff that you guys are buying like every single day. It was driving me crazy. Getting TMT'd out. Jada Street Fighter and X-Men 97 is the new hotness in my life. I get that. Dude, that Jada Street Fighter it's so good. It's just so good. Like, you couldn't have done better. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, they are making veterans of the market look like newbie fools. Like, Jada is rocking it, man. And for the price point that they're putting these figures out, these are amazing. The Street Fighter, as far as I'm concerned, they will go the distance. I can't wait to buy every single one of them. Maybe not like the Player 2. I'm going to fight with myself on that one. Because they're doing something with the Player 2 releases where they're releasing like the extra heads and some stuff that I wanted. Like with the Chun-Li, I wanted the smiling face and the peace sign, and we didn't get it. That's coming with Player 2. they're cheap enough that that probably won't bother me all the time. But it could also get very old to keep having to buy them to get the faces and things that I want. So I don't know. I'm fighting with myself on that. And TMNT almost seems oversaturated. There's too many licenses out there right now. There's too many options, I think. And that's starting to hurt TMNT. So like, that's one of the reasons I decided to hard focus on the TMNT Ultimates main line and get that, and then I'll go from there. But that also means that I missed out on those Jim Lee looking awesome Ninja Turtles, and like, there's nothing I could do about that. And those would have been really, really cool on the shelf. And I also did not buy the NECA movie Turtles, and that was a mistake. That was an absolute mistake. Let's see. Yeah, I was keeping an eye out for a Frogmonger under 50, so I pounced when I found one for 45 with shipping including. Figure is loose, but I'm an opener anyway, so it's cool. Yeah, well then you're lucky. You're a lot like me. No, absolutely, that's good, because that's another thing. Being an opener, it's another plus that doesn't get talked about very often. It can sometimes be easier to find product as an opener than if you're an inbox, because an inbox needs the box to be, 1, intact, 2, in nearly perfect condition, and it needs to not be opened, where you're not going to get that from me, because if I sell one of my figures, it's not coming with the box. I got rid of it. But I can go to some conventions, and sometimes people are just like, hey, I got this open version of, like, I got an open Teela, or I got an open this, or I got, open Battle Cat. I got open old vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that, here, you want them? $5. Like, that's awesome. You can build up a decent little collection for half the price as an opener than you can as an inbox. So, yeah. See, by the way, my Legacy Collection Zeo Gold Ranger staff came in the other day. It's beautiful. It is. It's absolutely beautiful. I love that staff. Like, I hung that in my garage so that when I'm doing my boxing, I'll do my boxing, and then sometimes when I'm like trying to cool down, I'm walking back and forth. Sometimes I'll pick up like Saba, or I'll pick up the staff off the shelf, and I'll kind of get my arms moving while I'm trying to bring my heart rate down and whatnot. I just love to touch it. Like, it's almost like an excuse. Like, I just touch the staff because I got it. Like, it's so cool. And then, of course, that's my favorite design Ranger of all time. So, I mean, having his weapon is really cool. Never forget Man-at-Arms telling children to use comments. He did too. That's not a joke, man. He did. He was like, use your common sense. Oh man. I love that you just did that, because that just brought that right back into my mind. I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna look up that old PSA at the end of that episode now. I want to see that again now that you just said that out loud, because now that's kind of repeating in my mind and I want to see it again. Wish I'd picked up the Mondo Man thing. Oh, that's probably awesome. See, Gilman is my favorite Universal monster for sure, and one of my favorite characters of anything of all time. So I collect a ton of Gil. Oh no, that's awesome. Yeah, for me, he was the one. He was the one that really, like. I mean, I love the Frankenstein monster. I do, and I think the Bride is iconic for a reason. But Gilman set a standard of the age that was unheard of. Like, he looked amazing for his time. In fact, he looked so good that you could argue with just mild touch-ups, you could still sell that monster today in a modern movie and it would work. Like, it was just, Gilman is unbelievably well designed. He was easily my favorite design of the Silver Age of monster movies. The other movies of Fandom Night must be jealous of you for so many people sending chat messages. It's just that I talk to people. I explain that to the other Fandom Night members a lot. I talk to people. So it gets people sending messages. It gets people talking. That's the reason I'm here. Like, where most of the time, sometimes the Fandom Night crew, they just kind of like want to talk to each other. And then they'll kind of hit back against like the stream sometimes and be like, we're not talking about that right now. And I get it. But like that's I think why sometimes this drives up and holds conversation the entire time that we're on here, is because it's just a different atmosphere. And we're also one-on-one. It's not the same thing as like the Fandom Night crew. I would honestly believe, like, especially like if you go to like Sario Says and you're part of Seth's stuff, he'll talk to you. If you're in there and you're in on one of his one-on-ones, it's a different monster. It's a different monster because I can watch the chat more closely, but you're going to notice that this will start happening a lot more in Fandom Night because we are starting to do the on-screen stuff and whatnot, just like I do here. So I'm kind of taking some of these ideas into Fandom Night little by little and kind of forcing them to get on board with keeping streams moving on a proper rate. Let's see. My friend hates Cyclops, but his only knowledge of him is the 2000 movies. Guess what the 2000 movies did? He was a plot device to make Wolverine be cool. I understand it. I hate some characters, but I only know like one version of them. Only comics he read was The Walking Dead. Look, if you don't know, you don't know. And sometimes the way a character is depicted can very much ruin a character for you because maybe they're depicted wrong, or maybe there's something that's changed that you don't really care for in whatever version that you're watching. Or maybe it's the only time you've ever seen it and you're like, I really don't like that. And I get that. So like, it's not that I don't understand, because when I was growing up, I hated Cyclops. I mean, I hated him. But the only reference material that I had, was my 90s series. And I hated him. Like, I just could not stand him. Then I started reading the comics. And I started being like, what is going on? Like, he is not the same guy. I'm really getting confused here at what's going on. Like, he's written so differently. Then I started realizing what was going on. I grew up. I started watching a lot of these shows that I watched as a kid, as an adult, and I started analyzing, kind of like looking for the meanings behind things and what kind of moral are they trying to teach me? Why is the story written this way? Is this just an action thing, or are they trying to teach me something? They're trying to show me something. And I started realizing that Cyclops was not a character. He's not a character. He has zero characterization whatsoever in those shows, aside from being the stoic leader guy that makes Wolverine cool. That's it. Because Wolverine gets to punch him, or talk back to him, or be the wild card, or whatever. And so you're not playing an actual character, a leader that is making leader decisions that deals with the weight of the team on his shoulders, like, say, Leonardo. That's a leader that for the most part, they do a pretty good job of kind of writing Leonardo, even in the cartoons, as an actual leader that has to take responsibility for the team and has to bear the weight on his shoulders to keep his brothers intact. That's why he acts stoic sometimes. That's why he's a hard ass sometimes. That's why he's an a-hole sometimes. Because sometimes he has to be that guy to keep everybody alive, and that he has to take the bulk of what's happening on himself. Cyclops doesn't do that. Cyclops, in most things that they write him in, is just sad guy, and then Wolverine has to step up to be the leader. Stoic leader guy that Wolverine gets to tell, piss off, I do I want to do. Like, and then everybody's like, dude, Wolverine is cool. Wolverine don't take no bullshit. I hate that guy. And then, so Cyclops gets screwed in most stuff that he shows up in because they just don't write Cyclops. Cyclops is not a character. He's a plot device for other characters to be cool because they don't listen to the leader guy. Let's see. No, I found those Street Fighters, I go back and forth with that. I pre-order them off like Big Bad. And then I'll sometimes find them in the wild and I'll be like, should I just get this? Because it's like right here. But then I've already put the order in and I just wait. But then there's other times that I'm really glad that I did did put the order in because, like, I never, even yet, at the there's 2 targets in distance of me, 2 targets. I've never seen a Chun-Li on the shelf. Not once. Not one time have I seen Chun-Li on the shelf. So if I hadn't pre-ordered her, I wouldn't have her. Let's see. Jada Chun-Li's open hand fits a G.I. Joe classified. What? I didn't know that. I had no idea that was true. I mean, I guess when I'm really stopping and sitting here and thinking about it, I mean, I guess it's about the right size. That's cool. That's wild. I had no idea that was a thing. See, the one figure line I got out of real quick was Transformers Studio Series line. Had some thought they were neat, but the quality wasn't the most consistent, and I fell out of it. Yeah, that's a killer for a line, man. Especially if it's a line with, like, real promise. You know what? We can do it with that right there. The Legends line, Marvel Legends, goes in and out of quality consistently. Like, it does not make sense to me at all that you can produce things like the Black Widow, one of the greatest female designs that we've seen so far in the entirety of the line, and then somehow, right after producing her, produce 4 female figures back to back that have, like, the old elbows and the single knees. Like, what happened? Like, why? It just, and then that can really ruin a line for you because it starts making you second guess whether or not you want to buy something from said line because maybe it's garbage. Just because the last one was good doesn't guarantee anything at all with the rest of the line. It messes with you. And it can actually drive you away. See, Man-at-Arms became a meme here. Every time he enters a battle, everyone just screams, "Here comes the mustache," or "Mustache Man incoming," and it's just funny. I mean, I get that. I mean, he's not a joke here as far. I mean, well, it depends on what you're talking about, because a lot of He-Man can get memed here, but yeah. Let's see. When it comes to monster movie characters like Gilman and the TMNT, I always preferred live action suits, not CGI. I grew up in the 1990s movies, and they're still my turtles. Yeah, no, I agree. They're there. They're there is important. It's not that I would be completely against touch-ups. Like, say they did a mostly TMNT costume, and then touched it up digitally on top of the costume in places, kind of like they did with, like, early Iron Man stuff. You know what I'm talking about? That would work for me. But there has to be something visually real there. Kind of like they do it with, like, superheroes over here a lot, where they'll do a superhero and the costume is real. And then they'll put, like, pins and whatnot on this area, and they'll digitally add the cape, because then they can make the cape do whatever they need the cape to do, and it's not actually in the actor's way. That ends up looking really, really good. So I think it's not a bad thing to mix them, but I think you have to have more real there than just a stand-in CGI big giant turtle man, because I just don't think it works. I like how a serious dark anime, kind of comedic times with some Motu-based characters. Ever heard of Overlord? I have heard of Overlord. I don't know that I would compare that to Motu. Scott Summers is the real deal. Fox did him dirty to boost Jackman's... Exactly. Always hated that they made Wolverine tall and dreamy, completely killed his character. I'm not going to crap on Jackman. I'm going to tell you that Jackman's probably the best thing we were going to get for Wolverine at the time, and we owe an awful lot to the man for not only portraying him well, but keeping that portrayal running for so many years. You got to hand that to him. But I will say it would have been nice if other characters would have been allowed to, like, be characters instead of just the Jackman show. I recently learned the insane story behind the origin of Gilman, that he was created by a woman, Millicent Patrick, whose shitty boss stole the credit and was the real... No, yeah, sadly that happens so often. Like, it happens so often. I mean, just look at Bill Finger. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, it's such a common thing. What I could tell you guys is that if you have any creativity whatsoever, if you write a book, if you do a comic, if you make a character, if you do whatever, here's one to look up. I'm serious about this, Ace. Look up Elvira and listen to her story. Listen to how she created that character. Because she did. Nothing about that character was honestly created by them. They had a blueprint idea, and she created everything that character is. Then, over the course of multiple years, she strong-armed it little by little away from the company until she owned all creative rights, and she deserves those rights. That's her character. And I be careful. Because they'll promise you the world. They'll give you a single paycheck. And then they'll run your creation through the dirt. And no matter how big or small it gets, you'll never see anything from it. Just watch yourself. Any creative person needs to watch the thing that they hold on to. If it's yours, keep it. Find out how to do it without them if you have to. And careful who you trust as your writing partner, because ask Bill Finger. Just now found out Cyclops has teleporting laser beams, not just normal Superman heat vision. Basically what's going on, no, it doesn't get warped to it. No, anything hit by no, that's not the way it works. His eyes are a gateway essentially to a dimension that is like filled with that energy, is the way that I've heard it explained in multiple comic books. There is no recoil. I let it go. I let it go because it looks really cool. But when Cyclops is in that fight scene in the first 97 episode, when he puts his hand out and he fires the beam and then he kind of lifts his feet and he lets it push him back across the room, he can't do that. There's no recoil in the beam. If there was, the beam is strong enough to rip through like 10 feet of solid steel. He would fire the beam, his neck would rip, and his head would go that way, and the beam would stay right there. Like, he would be dead. He would be dead in his first optic blast. The optic blast is all force. It punches. And his eyes act like portals that chamber that energy that force it out. It punches. It doesn't recoil. He can't push himself back with it. He can push something away, but he can't push himself back. And realistically, and his powers are inconsistent because I've also seen him do things in the comics even where they've explained that it's all force, and yet still he'll be like pew, and he'll shoot it at the ground and like start like a little fire for himself or whatever. He can't do that either. That's not that. The books specifically state that the optic blast is 100% force. It does not generate heat, and it does not have recoil. So he can't push himself back, and he can't start fires, which means that when Iceman freezes somebody, Cyclops actually can't come up and put the beam on its lowest setting and be like, pew, and just burn off a layer of ice. They don't work that way. They're a physical force punch. They punch. That's all they're supposed to do. Power inconsistencies happen a lot in comic books. So it's not that I don't get it, but it does bother me sometimes when they set the rules blatantly and then just ignore the rules and do whatever looks cool. Sometimes that bothers me. Nobody seems to really know that and just goes with the generic. But that's what I'm getting at. Nobody seems to really know. It's not a burning hot red laser. It's not heat vision. It's an optic blast. Blast being the key word. It's all force. It's like a punch that can go through steel. He can run through a tank with those eyes. Super Nintendo X-Men game from the 90s was rad. Loved playing as a kid. The sound for Cyclops' eyeless blast was so satisfying. I'm wondering which one you're talking about. Because there's a couple of them, actually. Cyclops is in... I think he's in War of the Gems. He's in 2 Sega games. I know you're talking Super Nintendo. In the Super Nintendo game... Oh, I know what X-Men... You're talking like... There's that Apocalypse game, if I'm not mistaken. That's the one you're talking about. I played that. As a matter of fact, I may still own that game, actually. I remember the 2017 Power Rangers costumes did that. They had real costumes. Yeah, exactly. That's the way to do it. The Rangers are actually there. That's a completely different thing than the Rangers are not there and we just CGI the entire costume and they're wearing like pajamas. That's not the same effect. It doesn't work the same. It just simply doesn't. Let's see. Still one of my favorite comic book movies is Hellboy. They had actual character there with CGI touch-ups. And then, to this day, I've never actually sat down and watched all of it. I've seen the beginning. I've seen the end. I've never owned it, and I've never sat down and watched that. I keep telling myself I need to, and then I never do. Like, I'm probably honestly missing out on something, in all honesty, because I've never actually sat down and watched it. I didn't know the story about Elvira. Good for her. Hell yeah, makes me love her even more. I hope she gets good royalties. Yeah, she does. She is in complete control of the character. She gets royalties on comic books and everything now. Like, she owns it. It's hers. The company that takes credit for creating the character, it was not them, but the company that takes credit for creating the character completely went under. And she muscled it away from them little by little before they went under. So she actually did herself big favors on that one. Let's see. Recently rewatched Farscape and love all the Henson creatures. Still held up very well. Yeah, that's another thing too. Like, think about things like Yoda. Yoda was a puppet, but he was really there. Like, there's something jarring about the prequels. And I know that when the prequels first came out, he was a puppet in the first movie, and then now he's not. If you got the Blu-ray or whatever, he's not there. But like, there's something about him not actually being there. And we've gotten so used to it over the years that we kind of let it go. Like, especially with Star Wars. We're just like, oh, Yoda. And we almost expect him to be CGI now. But nothing will ever beat a real thing standing there. Now, if you have to augment that thing, I can understand that. Because, like, Yoda never moved well. We can tell he's a puppet when he's walking across the floor. But with slight modification, he could look tremendously real and still actually be there. And that would have been something too. And there's also something to be said for all of what they had to do to make it happen. Like, you have to build the stages and look at details and figure out how a creature will move and things of that nature, and actually build up the idea that something is actually standing there. Because it is. And you need it to stand there. Nowadays, I sometimes wonder, and you almost have to give credit to some of these actors. Some of these actors are probably better actors than we even give them credit for. Because there's nothing there. Think about all these actors that grew up in a time when they would film on locations or they would build a set. You were in a world that was completely foreign because they built that world, and then they would modify it with effects afterwards. But these actors got to go to like a world and do something, right? Now These actors are in green screen locations. They're just like standing in a big green room, and they got to pretend like something amazing is over there. They got to fight a dragon that's never actually there. They got to combat a goblin that's never actually there. Like, they got to react to a big explosion that's not actually happening. Like, the movies are just so different. And when those actors can get you to believe that they are somewhere or that the world around them is real, that is talent. Look at a movie like 300. We know they're not actually there. We know that it was fought on sound stages and green screen rooms. But there's not a single moment in 300 where the actors don't feel like they're actually there. Like, they make you believe that the world that is surrounding them, they can see it. That's impressive. That's good acting. That's good acting that most of us don't even stop to think about. Like, we just take it for granted. We're like, oh, that movie was awesome, man. Like, I loved this part and I loved that part. But we never once stopped to think about the fact that everything that we seen, they didn't see it. It wasn't there. It was all just green and blue screens all over the place, just surrounded by nothingness. And then they had to somehow, like, look out into the distance and see ships and rain and know that the ground under their feet was littered with rocks and that dust was flying in the air, and they had to react and put their stuff up and kind of wince their eyes, and none of that was there. None of that was there. And they had to sell it to you. They had to make you feel like at least the characters that are there feel like they're in a real place when nothing there is real. Like, that is crazy acting. And that's something that we almost have to, we have to give credit for some of the actors that have to deal with this in the modern day setting, as opposed to actors that got to see. Like, if they'd have done 300 back in the 80s, they'd have gone to a location and hired a bunch of extras and had to make those scenes work. Now, they don't do that. So when you do find a movie where you feel like something is actually there, because the actors make it feel like something is there, that's a hell of a feat. Can't imagine being on set of a Transformers movie and having to look up at a pole on a ball. Yeah. And the guy's like, and then sometimes if you're ever watching those scenes or whatever, they're like, this is scary. This is scary. And there's a guy holding a thing and he's like, it's coming at you. And the guy's going to be like, oh shit, it's coming at me. Like, and it's all bogus. And like, that guy has to really sell it hard, man. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But the actors that can do it, the actors that make you feel like there's something there, that's something, man. That's something. Like you said, Optimus Prime is a tennis ball on top of on top of like some giant pole, and they're like, that's a robot. That's a big robot. Act like it is. Good luck to you. The green screened but feels real thing is how I feel as a Sentai fan right now. Last year's Sentai was just gorgeous with that. Oh, I remember you saying something about that, actually, that you were really into what they were pulling off right now. But I get it, because I remember you showing off a couple of scenes and whatnot in the Discord and talking about it. I do actually remember that. But I am reaching the end. It's 11. That's 2 hours. We didn't do too much window shopping, but man, we hit that. That's all that matters, man. That's what this is. This is a hangout stream. We come in, we talk toys, we talk fandom, we talk stuff. The shopping is just part of it. I am going to get out of here. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys next Friday. And of course, there should be a couple of episodes throughout the course of the week. I'm trying to get to the point where I have at least 2 episodes a week plus the stream, and that seems like it's running pretty good. I usually have the ability to make that happen, and I got a couple of things over here that I'm looking forward to. Specifically, one of the things that I can't wait to open up because she kind of takes priority, I'm going to do like a Tila episode. I'm going to open up like 4 or 5 Tilas like all in one episode and really go over and whatnot. But yeah, guys, I'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out with me, and always check back in. Thanks for hanging out.